The pyramids of Montauk. The deed is found. If we review, here, let me do this for your consideration, for you, the viewer. The deed is found. I think I found an African land snail on my morning walk. This snail is about a $50 size at least. I'm gonna leave a photo of the snail that I took for this video thumbnail. And if anybody knows anything about snails, I mean, I looked up, I made a little snail home for it already and put some like bread in there. Apparently they eat anything, snails. But I think this snail in particular is it is huge. I've never seen a snail this size ever, much less out here where I live. But anyway, enough of my shenanigans. Enough of my snail shenanigans. If we review, so this is chapter 8 of the Pyramids of Montauk. If we review chapter 4, it states that the Department of the Interior was to have received the Camp Hero grounds and then turn it over to the state of New York as park land. The reason for this would seem too obvious. If the Department of the Interior is in possession of the land, it still belongs to the United States government. If it is officially turned over to the state, the land has become dispossessed and reverts back to the original owners, the Montauk tribe. Of course, there is no question that Camp Hero is currently under supervision of the New York State Park Commission. However, if that were truly the case, there would be no secret projects going on and the entire area would not be so guarded. Councilman Cooper told me that there should be a deed on file in the office of the county clerk in Riverhead, New York. I made the trip to Riverhead and parked in the county parking lot. Just in front of me and to the right was a car of identical make, color, and year. A woman had just parked and was getting out. I noticed that her license plate included the numbers 666. I thought of asking her about her license number, but decided against it. Eventually, on returning to my own car, I noticed my own mileage counter said 066.6 exactly. I realized that I had traveled that exact amount of miles from my house. The number 666 appearing is very ironic when you consider that, whoa, I lost my place. When you consider that 2 deeds were signed for the property under consideration on August 6, 1660 and February 6, 1661. I then went into the county clerk's office, asked questions, and proceeded to find the deed of ownership for the land known as Camp Hero. For those who are interested and want to look up the deed themselves, it can be found in Liber 9670, beginning on page 153 and ending on page 161 of the property records of Suffolk County, New York. The deed is worded quit claim deed, and the document does not exactly show itself to be the transfer of property we were led to believe would happen from the newspaper account. In July, Long Island Newsday reported there would be a deed ceremony the following week. This particular deed was not even signed until September 10th, 1984, by the U.S. government's representative, whose signature appears to be James W. Coleman, Jr., Regional Director of the National Park Service Mid-Atlantic Region, 143rd Street, Philadelphia, PA. The representative for the New York State did not accept the transfer legally until October 16, 1984. The deed specifically states that the United States of America grants the property for public park or public recreation purposes in perpetuity by the people of the state of New York. but it reserves the right to take back the property at a moment's notice with particular regard to the defense of the United States. It is specifically a quitclaim deed and not an actual transfer of property. The deed also stipulates that the United States shall reserve all mining rights to the property, together with the right to access the land for such purpose. This gives them carte blanche to maintain a legal underground facility. Further, the deed states that amendments and stipulations can be added to by either party and with approval. The entire nature of the agreements in the deed are subject to change. And if the state does not run the park in accordance with the wishes of the federal government, the United States can move in and take over. Sign at Camp Hero. The sign below says, Camp Hero section of Montauk Point State Park. This land was donated by the federal government. Webster's New World Dictionary defines donate as to give, especially to some philanthropic or religious cause, contribute. There's a photo of the sign, ladies and gentlemen. This is in New York, keep in mind, if you recall. If you've been following this Pyramids of Montauk series, federal government, no vehicles permitted, stay back. Before publication, I showed this chapter to a real estate professional who did not believe me. She said a quitclaim deed means the conveyor relinquishes all claim to the property and deeds it over absolutely and irrevocably. Something like mining rights could be an exception, but not a change of agreements. I must add that I have not exaggerated one bit. Anyone is invited to check out the deed for themselves. Obviously, this arrangement is very cozy for running a clandestine secret project. Clandestine, I believe that's how you say it. The entire affair was reported in the press as a transfer of property. New York State would give part of Fire Island for the Fire Island National Seashore. In return, the U.S. would give Camp Hero to New York State. If one reads all the news articles I have reported on, they reveal an ingenious manner with which to manipulate the public's opinion. Because the deed is technically a quitclaim with reservations and stipulations, it does not give an absolute and irrevocable transfer of property to New York State. If it did, the property would technically belong to the Montauk tribe. It should be noted that although the Montauks were declared extinct by New York State, there is no such federal decision against them. What I have said here is not a complete expert legal opinion, but it gives the general merits of the situation. It is highly interesting that Joe Petone was the only one who seemed to know the exact legal arrangement of Camp Hero. He had told us that the state of New York was acting as custodian for the feds. Although he doesn't claim any involvement in Montauk, it is very odd that he would know the circumstances so well. Of course, none of this information is a deterrent to the Montauks getting their sacred ground back. Technically, if the Montauks are recognized for what they truly are, the property should revert to them despite any of the information stipulated in the quitclaim deed. It is imperative that the Montauks receive help in overturning their own case, as it has been speculated that someone in the government might try and instigate legislation that would block the retroactive aspect of the 1793 legislation requiring all property dispossessed by the government to revert to the original owners. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was chapter 8. As you can see, you might want to stay tuned for this series. This next chapter sounds very interesting, as you see from the title, the chapter title. Again, if anyone has actually watched this video, I'm going to leave a photo of the snail that I found. I mean, I took him from the wild. He was right in the middle of this trail. It was huge. I mean, and I stole it, basically. I don't know if that's technically stealing, if we was out in the wild, but I made a home for it. I'm going to leave a photo of this snail. I think it's an African land snail. This thing's huge. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a great Monday. Wednesday? Namaste. Namaskaram.